Good morning, sunshine. You look like you just woke up.
I did, kind of.
Am I the right energy for starting your day? Because we're on so different. Like, I'm hyped up
No,
right now.
too much, Joey.
Dude,
No, you're fine.
I got a problem because I have to go to bed sometime soon, and
Yeah.
I have like a planned early morning call time tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and normally I'm pretty good about the whole regulating my schedule thing, but the 7 a.m. tomorrow is gonna hurt because it is soon, and I am not ready for it. I'm
7
not tired.
a.m. What the fuck? Why do you have to get up at 7 a.m.?
By the time this podcast comes out, there's going to be a new show on the Team Liquid channel that I am filming and also the talent for. So that's gonna be a thing.
Look at Joey
I
putting
cast
himself in his own
myself.
shows.
I cast
Fucking
myself.
disgusting.
Right, like I guess that's I'm not taking anyone up to my hotel room to like ask them to like take their clothes off. I'm not being abusive to anyone else in the producer role. I've learned the lessons of people before me. Instead, what I do is just take everything for myself instead of exploiting other people, which I am going to argue is an improvement. And I'm also going to argue this is just a bad joke. Yes, and oh no.
What's the director of Pulp Fiction?
Tarantino.
Tarantino. As long as you just don't go all Tarantino with it, and
Put myself in
put
every movie.
yourself in there, and then put yourself in sexually gratifying situations.
Hey man, Margot Robbie's feet looked great in the movie. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. What about what's her name? Selma Hayek.
Good feet.
Good feet as well. Really, they looked even better in his mouth for some reason. What a fucking weird scene. That scene actually like killed that movie for me.
Yeah, it really takes you out of the whole "this is art."
I'm just
Or
why is this happening right now?
did you watch any movies on the planet? Are you a plain movie person?
Uh, Depends on um the setup. Like this time around, for whatever reason, I lost my the cord for my wireless headphones,
Mm,
so I didn't have a way to plug in. So no, I didn't do any of that.
gotcha. Cause we're fresh off the Oscars, which I'm sure everyone
Oh,
is dying. Literally, like people are gonna come into this podcast and be, man, I cannot wait till they talk about the Oscars. Um, and all I'm
yes.
saying is, I got a copy of Nomadland, which is definitely legally acquired, that I put onto my computer to back up, that I can send to you for the plane ride back if you want to be more cultured. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Nomadland 2020 drama western. A woman in her 60s, after losing everything in the Great Recession, embarks on a journey through the American West.
I think this is the first time that the like Metacritic's movie of the year, like based on critic reviews and like year-end lists, also won the Oscar for Best Picture. I haven't watched it yet, but I did now download it, so I feel like I'm going to get myself more cultured. I've been doing a thing where even though I don't really watch a lot of movies, I'm trying to like watch like two or three of the Best Picture films to try and be more cultured. So that's on my
Mm,
horizon this week.
yes. You're trying to be more cultured by watching some of the things recommended to you by award categories like the Oscars while simultaneously killing cinema. Good work, Joey. You're really showing your appreciation.
That's true. I think that all cinema should be dead and everything should live on a TikTok. TikToks that I cast myself in. Let's go
You wouldn't
liquid.
steal a car. Have you seen that latest one? You wouldn't download an NFT.
Like,
That one's a banger. Whoever came up with that, fucking banger.
hey man,
Uh,
I respect the fact that I do not own Jack Dorsey's tweets. Someone else does, right? I
mhm.
wouldn't download it. I wouldn't even so much as look at it.
Yeah, don't look at it
How do you feel about
unless it's in a museum.
how do you feel about some esports orgs getting into the whole NFT thing?
Cash grab. That's how I feel about it. I looked at one of those things recently, the Socios one. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's like you can own a part of an esports org or whatever that, like to be fair, I'm totally speaking out of my ass. I don't actually know what their business model is, but I look at it and be like, huh. I look at specifically click on it and be like, what other Dota orgs are a part of this fucking money grab? Alliance, OG, Navi, I believe was the list. And again, I don't know the business model. It could be an amazing thing. It could be the future, but my initial reaction, that's a money grab.
I'm someone who likes cryptocurrency, as people who've listened to the show have heard stories about, right? Like this is something that like I feel a base level into, and not understanding or really liking the NFT thing makes me feel a little bit old. And esports orgs who are doing it, and I think I don't want to sound like I'm on a Team Liquid high horse here, pardon the pun, because I think that there are plans to do something uh, more NFT for the fans and less NFT for capital gains. But I'm seeing all these companies like who's buying the Wendy's NFTs? I don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me being out of touch.
I feel like most people are buying NFTs are people who think they're going to be valuable later on.
That's what I've heard from like and by what I mean from that is that's what the New York Times has told me by reading that it's a super speculative market, right? It's like, oh, if I buy Jack Dorsey's tweet, if I buy the Nade shots, I was gonna say, I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say. Fuck. If I buy Nade shot, then I can resell it again. I guess that's it because it'll in theory appreciate because it's like the first of something. But I'd rather just have a bunch of Ethereum or something that's an asset.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, isn't there something inherently like about the internet that it is a culture that is always moving? I feel like this is you're buying a piece of time when you do these like buy a tweet or whatever the fuck, you know? And I feel like the internet doesn't really give a fuck. The internet just churns out more content, better content. Like there are very few things that we hold on to internet wise for nostalgia. It's mostly just really good fucking memes. That's like if I could invest in memes.
I've also heard
What?
it explained as like as like a playground for the wealthy in the same sense that like the traditional art world is. Like, people who
Yeah.
can spend $100,000 on a statue to either put in a storage unit or their front yard or like not really appreciate like a lot of high
Yeah,
end art
but
is just
you
like a
can
wealth
lock that
thing.
shit up, you know? You're able to like put it into your fucking rich underground sex dungeon, and like occasionally whatever fucking gold digger comes along, you can here's my sex dungeon. Ah, and here's this fuck I paid 5 million for this painting. It's actually pirated. It was stolen from a museum and now it's mine and you can only see it here. You can't say that about Jack Dorsey's tweet. This is mine, and then they pull up Jack Dorsey's Twitter, and they're like,
This is mine.
"This is mine."
This is everybody's.
Like, isn't that part of the fucking appeal of art for many rich people? Is like taking something and locking it away. It's mine now, and only I can have it.
I don't know. I feel like what I'm doing here is I'm fishing for someone to either roll up to my Twitter or in the YouTube comments give me a line or two about why they're interested in NFTs or like why it's something they've invested in, because I suspect that someone listening has either for speculative reasons or like personal enjoyment gratification reasons. So like I'm guessing that person might tell me, which I'm looking for the insight for, because if it's anything like last week,
tell us if you bought PPD's tweets. I saw him selling those.
I did
Tell
see
us if
that
you did that.
he needed that money
I'll
to go
make
get more
fun of you.
tattoos. Um, I I say that because there was also a litany of people last week who really zoned me about Eastern Europe and about how that's how they
Oh yeah,
self-identify.
somebody tweeted at me about that too. It was a good message though. I feel like I learned some. Did you get the guy who was going to be a historian?
No. I don't think I
No.
got that person, but I wasn't looking at your Twitter feed. I got a couple of mine in the YouTube comments, but basically
Uh,
the Cliff Notes version of it all, and my ignorance coming out is that a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's how I self-identify as Eastern European, even though I technically might live in Asia or X country," and I'm like, "Oh, I never even thought to ask what they call themselves." Huh? Okay, point taken. What did the historian tell you?
the Europe goes all the way to the pronunciation Ural Mountains, which I had seen in a history book. I had seen that fucking term, the Ural Mountains, and I was like, I wonder where those actually are. And then I click on it, and holy shit, the Ural Mountains are fucking really far east. What the fuck? It like cuts off a third of fucking Russia. It's like straight up like above Kazakhstan. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of land. Europe's really reaching.
They always have been, right? King
Yeah.
colonialism. Um. So yeah. So the same people who told me about Eastern Europe, please tell me about NFTs. That's what I'm trying to get across here.
Yeah.
Um. I did my first family gathering post COVID yesterday.
Is it good?
Are you allowed to not like your family?
Yes.
Great. Okay,
You
thank
are
you.
100% allowed. I tell Ellie that all the time. You're allowed to not like your family. You're allowed to cut your family out of your life. You're allowed to cut anybody out of your life if they are toxic to you in some way. If they do not make your life better, you are free to say, well, I am a grown ass whole human being and I can decide who is a part of my life and who isn't. And that includes family.
I think I don't know if the break between being with my family, and by family I don't mean my immediate family. I might joke about my mom or my dad, but like I have a real affinity towards them and I don't really have any problems with them at all. Um my aunts and uncles and other and people of that nature. I think
It's
they've
always aunt and uncles.
I think they've gotten more racist over the last year. Either that or I
Yeah.
like forgot about it because I haven't like had to directly interact with them, and now I'm confronted with it again. I went to a family gathering on Saturday, and I was the only person with a mask on inside, even though a good chunk of people weren't vaccinated. I was getting bullied for it. And I'm like, well, fuck me. Sorry that I'm doing this for your safety. My bad. And then they were just they felt more Fox Newsy than normal. And I walked away from Saturday being like, fuck, I think one of the things that I might have liked about 2020 was not having to do this. So that's like an internal reckoning that I'm actively dealing with and trying to process right now. This is just a therapy session actually, so thank you. You should Venmo request me for the time. But I'm really trying to struggle to digest moving forward and dealing with some of these people who are like vaccine deniers. Okay, whatever, that might change a little bit, but like the crazy amount of just like racist shit they're saying is gross now. It's always been gross, but like now it's more front and center. Like I feel like they're not hiding it anymore, and I'm like, what? What happened? What happened to you guys?
They got a year of being cloistered in and not being, in general society, and got used to having their own private thoughts. Just continued to be spouted without any pushback. And also they probably were on the I love the fucking fact. The various, there's various takes on this meme, but like the basics of it is that, like, your parents always warned you about the dangers of the internet, and like all the fake stuff is on there, and never trust anybody on the internet. And now those exact same people are falling for like the biggest bullshit, like the easiest fucking lies in the world. It's very, very funny to me. I enjoy that quite a bit.
Case in point, I have people who were like, Joey, how are this is like, let's say 2008, 2007, maybe. They're like, Joey, you're using PayPal you can't. People on the internet
money on the internet
are going to like steal your information, and your parents are going to go broke because they're going to rob you. Fast forward 14 years later. Hey, did you read this article that I saw on Facebook that was the reason why I can't get the vaccine is because it's going to make me infertile. It's going to fuck with all my ability to have children. I'm like, my son's 16. Meanwhile, the person who's saying this is like literally post-menopause. And I'm like, okay, yeah, go on. I'm like, my son's 16. What? I can't give him the vaccine because what if he never has kids?
Good. Don't pass off on your fucking idiot genes.
This is a fringe case scenario. The son in question is adopted, so the genes were not passed on. But
don't pass off on your fucking brainwash. There it is, brainwash. Whoo, couldn't think of that word for a minute.
Speaking of that,
pass on your brainwashed ideology.
Speaking of that, the reason why we were together is for a communion. So just leave communion? That one. That's gonna offend our 3 Catholic fans. Communion is when you're Catholic and become an adult in the eyes of the church. You like turn 16. There's like a service, I think.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's there's like a baptism, and then I think there's something else, and then
I assume it's just a much smaller deal than a Jewish bar mitzvah.
Yes, I think a bar mitzvah is much more of like a celebration, a cornerstone. A communion is like, I think you have to be committed to the church to do a communion. So my theory is this cousin is going to go to college, get out of the house, and then one day we're gonna have a beer and it's gonna be like, dude, you have no idea what I went through at home, and I can't wait to find that out. Or he's gonna grow up bigoted like they are, which will just be sad. So one of those two things is going to happen, and I can't wait to find out which one. But TLDR, first family event, bad time.
And don't go anymore. And tell them you're not going to go anymore. And tell them the reasons why.
Yeah. I'll be like, hey, I'm not going to be here because
you guys are racist as fuck.
They won't understand.
I don't want to hear your crazy theories about Obama anymore, Margaret.
Oh my god, that's wild. Her name's Margaret. I am being serious.
I actually have a family member who her name is also Margaret. So maybe that's why it was in my subconscious. But I specifically chose a name that like was sounded older. But the Margaret in my family is actually the polar opposite. She's on the opposite side of that. She's constantly, I am constantly getting fucking updates from my mom, who is like, an NPR liberal. And she tells me basically what's going on with my aunt and uncle and my cousins and the various family dynamics that are going on there. With my aunt and uncle being rather right leaning and libertarian, and
Hmm.
also hate, like this is the same conversation. Did I tell you about this conversation about my mom talking to my aunt, and my aunt asking her like, "Are you ever going to get the? Are you going to actually get the vaccine?" And my mom's like, "Yeah, I work in an office. Like, I don't know anybody who's not going to get the vaccine." And my aunt's like, "Well, I don't know anybody who is going to get the vaccine." It's like that kind of dynamic. So, and then Margaret is married into the family, and she's very liberal. Her and my cousin that she's married to went to like Black Lives Matters and all that sort of thing, right? And so it's like constant infighting between them, and I get the updates about it all the time. It's yeah, I mean, I'm just glad my mom is who my mom is. We'll just put it that way.
I'm happy
I
that I
would
can.
not want to fight
I'm
with my
Yeah.
direct family that way.
I'm happy that I can talk to my parents, and even though we don't
Uh,
see eye to eye on everything, my dad is much more center right. My mom is center left. My sister doesn't really understand much, but she cares sometimes. Like we can have like a good spirited conversation, and no one gets like upset at each other, right?
mm,
Like it feels productive, and like ideas are shared and stuff like that. The problem that I have with my family on whole um, is that I am kind of the black sheep
hmm
because they're all Catholic. My core family is not, and I'm
yeah,
the least.
yeah.
um, I'm the person who was like I'm the first person to graduate college and was always like kind of put on a pedestal for education. So I'm like the college atheist boy, and also
Mm.
I am the most outspoken, call it liberal, call it left wing, call it whatever you want, progressive, pick your title, right? So I have all this going against me, so I'm always just kind of put in like a box. And as like this person who just gets like pats on the head, it's like, oh, crazy Joey. One day he'll make money, and he'll understand that we can't give it to all the poor people because they don't deserve it and they should work harder. And I'm like,
That's what Jesus would have wanted.
yeah, I know, right? So that's the thing. So I always get it's hard for me to not be a character in their head and be taken
Mm,
seriously. And then when I try and have conversations with them, because they normally start these things, and I try and run from them because I know what's going to happen. I try and like ask for like details or facts or anything that's like a layer removed from their argument to try and like figure out the thought process behind it, or like try and start a conversation. And they can just never explain anything to me without like getting red in the face and raising their voice. And it's like, well, I can't even, you know, if I could have a conversation with you, I'm cool not being on the same page. I would love to have some of your perspective. But the fact that I can't even get that, I think, is what bothers me the most, because we can't even talk without them getting just upset.
you my family is Seventh Day Adventist. Have I ever told you that? You know what that is?
You have, and I vaguely do, but like not much more beyond that.
Uh, I'm not sure if I've ever told this on the podcast, but for those of you guys who don't know exactly what Adventists are,
It's the
understandable.
calendar, right?
Uh,
For Christmas, every day you get a new chocolate.
it's
It's Advent.
it's the Protestant Christian sect that follows like certain like Old Testament rules. So basically, some of the stuff that's in Judaism is also in so like not eating the wrong meat, for example, not eating pork, not eating the like open or closed hoofed animals or whatever the fuck they are. It's we go to church on Saturday instead of Sunday, as an example. And you would be well forgiven for not knowing about the Adventist religion, because it shouldn't exist. And the reason for that being is originally the Adventist religion was largely based around the fact that they believed that the day of reckoning was coming sometime in like the 1980s or something like that. Like they did some math on the Bible about like all the days that are added up in like the book of Revelations, and the day of reckoning was like the 1980s or some shit. 1960s maybe, and it didn't happen obviously, but it's still here.
So after that day, they're like, well, what do we do now? Do we have to get like real jobs or something?
Yeah, yeah, the rapture didn't happen, and so you know what you know what my sixth grade teacher told me. The reason it didn't happen is because we did that math on the Bible, and of course, there's a famous passage in the Bible about how about men will never know like when God will come, basically. Like they'll never know that date. And because we did that math, then God's like, well, you're not supposed to know the date. So I'm gonna come later.
You know, that logic in theory checks out, I guess, except
Yeah, yeah.
for it being why. Yeah.
Shout out to
It's-
Mr. Tchaikovsky. It was his name. I'm gonna guess it's like Polish or something, Mr. Tchaikovsky, and who also showed us a documentary about the evil of metal music and the devil's horns in the 90s.
Man, remember when people used to
In
be
the late
scared?
90s, he showed us a film about the evils of metal and its ties to Satanism and the fucking devil's horns and shit in the late 90s when that craze happened in the early 80s. That's how fucking stuck in the past he was. My mom was so mad when I told her. I was like, yeah, we watched a documentary about the evils of metal music and Satanism. And she's like, what? Excuse me?
Meanwhile, your mom's wearing a Metallica T-shirt. Is that at your parents?
Yeah, I mean, my dad actively listened to Metallica at that time, so you know.
Is that like how your parents did your parents meet through the church or something? Or is it
No,
like, is this like
my
one side
dad
of your
is
family?
no, my dad has never been religious.
Okay, so this is like from your mom's world.
Yeah, my mom's side of the family, yeah, which she is, I don't think Adventist anymore. I don't think she has been for a while.
She met your dad, and she became a heathen, and the rapture never came. So you know,
That's true. She ruined the rapture.
she ruined.
Damn it, mom.
You had to learn about God. Jesus. I don't know what to talk about in the world of the DPC aside from one thing. And that one thing, which I'm going to say is objectively the biggest piece of news. People are going to be like, fucking Joey, he's such a shill. He only knows about one region and one team. It's like it's his job or something. But the only... Is there anything interesting to talk about in the DPC right now that isn't Sumail?
Yeah, sorry, very quickly. Apparently, I was totally wrong. It was apparently, it goes even further. October 22nd, 1844.
Oh, they were on twice?
They have a day for it. It's called the Great Disappointment.
Well, hold on. They're disappointed about not mass extinction?
Well, yeah, because you're supposed to go to heaven, Joey.
I genuinely didn't even think about it like that. I guess you're right.
On the day after the Great Disappointment, October 23rd, Hiram Edson became convinced that the light would be given and their disappointment explained. Yeah, and then, they changed the religion tenets based off of that. Like, oh, we were wrong about something. So, yeah, sorry. Sumail in Liquid. Very interesting stuff.
I mean, we can talk. We're going to talk about it. Is there anything else? Is that the only piece of news that's worth knowing?
I mean, Loda's tweet about hating talent because we're so bad and wrong and biased.
Let's start there. let's start there. I saw this because I saw Kyle's response, and then and I saw that Reddit post. I saw that Twitch clip. Right. First
Yeah.
off, big fan.
It was good. It was funny. It was funny.
I'm gonna say big fan because I really like the voice it was told in and like the little bit of smarminess that was there. I think that Kyle is at his best when he has just a little bit of venom in his words. Just a little bit. Not when it's flame, but when there's just a little bit of fuck you. That's when I think Kyle's at his best. Also, selfishly, that's when I think I'm at my best. So maybe I'm just empathizing.
The danger is when he gets too schmarmy.
Exactly, because then like, you know, you're like smelling your own shit or you're believing your own hype or like it's too aggressive. Like you want a little bit, like enough to really to just little shake,
a little kick, a little bite. Yeah.
I saw the clip before I had to go back and look at the tweets, and my takeaway there isn't much different than like I think what a lot of people on Reddit or other people are saying is that how has Loda not learned to just shut the fuck up?
Oh, this keeps happening to him, and everybody keeps making fun of him for it. Why does he keep making the same mistakes?
He's not learning. He's not learning from the mistakes, I think.
Why aren't you learning? It's been 10 years.
That's the thing. It's like, oh, like I understand. I don't know if it's like I'm not understanding your humor necessarily. Like there might be a little bit of a cultural divide between like how sarcasm might be ignored. No, it's not. Yeah, Loda's just kind of being an asshole, which is like you don't. And the thing is like I think that you're allowed to be an asshole, and that is some people's brands. But when you're like only an asshole when things are negatively pointed towards you, and like that's your response to criticism, it's a bad look. And then, I mean, getting caught in the trap of just doing it over and over again isn't great. So
you know, the part of the like I just Loda's done this for a long time. And the way he puts this doesn't in no way is this like fucking right back at you. Like, you know, it's nothing like that. You could just read the tone. But like if you really want further evidence that Loda is not like joking around, he is actually very sensitive to this and he is legitimately upset. There was a Reddit thread that said Loda actually liked this comment. There are layers to this one, right? He puts out his Nigma tweet, you know, very, very PC, very like, you know, they did a great job, doesn't mention anything about like, you know, fucking told that fucking talent that we were, you know, whatever. Somebody responds, can't wait for butt-hurted NA caster without any achievements in his pro Dota career and let it virgins to see this. Long live Alliance. That person who made that response, Loda likes that tweet. That person goes and puts it up on Reddit. They take a screenshot of their own tweet saying, Loda like this. It wasn't like some Reddit investigate, like, let me find out what Loda's liking right now. It was that guy who posted that on Reddit saying, Loda like this tweet, Lamau. And the funniest part is, most sane people, most reasonable people, look at that and be like, Jesus Christ, that is incredibly immature. That is like off the walls immaturity, right? And that's what all the comments are saying. The top comment is like, why are you even... Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's not the top comment. Let me find the top comment here. Loda more immature than Kyle. What a timeline. Go on. Fucking, I don't think he likes casters, but the Dota scene would be nothing, and it goes on to praise casters or whatever. Kyle living rent-free in his head. We should be happy. Anyway, like some of this is mean, so I'm not going to get into it. But like the point of it is the entire thread is shitting on Loda. everybody thinks that this guy posted this as as clowning on Lota. But this guy legitimately believes, he's like, dude, check this out. Are you guys seeing this? Lota's based as fuck right now, boys. You seeing this? Lota's damning these fucking casters. He's dunking on these fools right now. Check this out, boys. Check this shit out. And the entire Reddit thread's like, dude, you probably shouldn't be going through Lota's history just to find fucking bad takes from him. It's like, I understand it's cringe, but like, you really, dude, come on, just like, don't be obsessed, dude. And this guy's like, no, that's my tweet. That's my tweet. That's why I posted it. Cause Lota's dunking on the haters.
What are the odds that person who posted that tweet had some kind of a Pepe emote and or a Bulldog subscriber?
Fucking no, like. So I just responded like, condolences on this thread not going the way you intended. He deleted it.
I'm glad that you were in there.
Just like, how tone deaf can you be? My God. Have I explained what those predictions are about?
No.
Okay, so the predictions got posted after games were played.
I know that because you were like, wait a second.
Yeah, and our predictions went in before like any games were played. And if anybody wants to know, they literally just ask us like 10 minutes before the show. Like, hey, can you guys give us a 1 through 8 predictions? And we all fucking write it down. And it's actually funny because like, I don't think, I at least did not really look at other people's predictions when I put mine in. I just put something that basically my reasoning, I have Alliance, by the way, on the worst. And Lota didn't put his name and my name in his mouth for whatever reason. I don't know why. He called fucking Fog Judas. How fucking over the top can you be? Oh my God. Yeah. But he didn't mention me. I don't fucking know why. But I put the only thing I knew about my predictions was I wasn't going to put Secret at the top and I wasn't going to put the lower division teams at the bottom too. Everything else was like a mix of analysis, but also knowing that like, we don't know. We have no fucking idea. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. We have no fucking clue. It's a new patch. We haven't seen half these teams play for like almost 2 months or something like that if they didn't go to the major. And then we also saw that some of these teams at the major, but it's like the COVID major, you know, it's like, I'm not even sure. It's not a good format. Half the teams were fucking ripped apart by not having all their players and shit. Like, it's not good evidence, you know? So I just put like, I was like, am I going to put Nigma or OG at the top? And I was like, I'll put OG. Am I going to put Alliance, Liquid, or Tundra getting knocked out? Fuck it, Alliance. Because they bombed out of the group stage. Maybe they're going to fucking just can't figure shit out. Maybe teams feeling bad about that, you know? Who am I going to put of the lower division teams into actually making it through? Brame or Hellbear Smashers? Coin flip. That's how the prediction list was made. Because we know there's nothing to know about this. Like, we'll take prediction lists serious if there's like not a new patch, if we have reasons and like game footage to go over. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. We got game footage to go over. There's not a new patch. We've got like a clear timeline of like, this is what the team looks like.
It would probably be...
How do you take a prediction list seriously when there's no evidence to back it up?
It would probably be like if they wanted you to take that seriously, I wouldn't make you rank 1 through 8. I would say, give me top 4, bottom 4, or something. Because then you can probably realistically be like, okay, top 4, Nigma, Secret, OG. I don't know. Is it Liquid? Is it Tundra? Is it something wild? Or maybe like, you know, top 3, bottom 3, middle 2, like something that doesn't like tie you into like, well, now I have to be like some kind of a prediction savant. It is funny that Lota didn't call you out though, because you were the person who said Alliance is gonna get eliminated and no one else did. It's so stupid. None of it should matter. We also probably shouldn't call each other Judas. Also, Alliance should probably look into someone to do PR for Lota's Twitter.
Dude, It makes me laugh. Like the fact you just said that makes me laugh. It's so fucking over the top.
When is OD gonna ingest call fog to use in a cast though? Because
Oh, it's definitely happened. We've joked about it backstage. And now going over to OD Pixel and Judas.
it's really funny if it didn't shine a light on like a shitty situation, because ultimately all you're doing is like digging at Loda more. But like,
yeah, if this was like a more even fight, whatever this is, right? If this was a more even, like if people were like really like, yeah, fuck the casters and stuff like that, and other people were like, nah, fuck Loda and all that shit, then like, yeah, we could do that because it's funny and then like, you know, like, but when it's so one-sided, it's not a good take when you're like,
no, you're punching down.
You're punching
down at Loda.
Yeah, and that's also why Kyle could not. He could only have a little bit of venom, you know, because
that being said,
Alliance he was also the person called out. So you know,
Alliance undefeated.
They are. Alliance is looking really good.
I was really hoping Nemo was going to beat them.
Yeah, why's that? Just for the memes?
Just for the memes. just for the memes. Mostly for the memes.
Listen, you want to know? I always say this: when talent are most biased, it's one of two reasons. Why they're most biased when they predicted a team to win. And I'm not talking like fucking 1 through 8 top 8 predictions. I'm talking like as in I'm watching this series. I'm watching these two teams match up against each other, and I see this draft. I want to be right because I've got reasons. I've got like actual analysis to put into this game. I see the draft. I see maybe I saw game 1. I want to be right about this. That is the most biased you'll ever get talent, is when they predict something. When they think something, they really want that team to win then at that point in time. They don't have some like preconceived bias. They're like, man, I really hate these guys. I don't give a shit. But the other time that talent are really biased, for the memes, Joey. if the outcome is funny, oh, we want that to happen so badly.
What's gonna make good content?
Yeah. And in which case this way, Alliance winning or losing is funny content, actually. So
it's true. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's pretty good for us. And you know what? Wound up better for Loda. So good on him.
Yeah.
Good on him. Underdog Alliance. Man.
Yeah.
So the other thing, touched on it earlier. I know that I knew I should have edited out the part of the podcast where you said Lick was going to have a stand-in last week, because it didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. But it also didn't go up on Reddit or anything, so.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody, for not leaking that. That would have been hard to explain to...
Yeah, it would have been explained eventually.
Bosses.
They eventually got it.
But the what Cap was alluding to last week, and what hit is that Boxy is taking some time off of Dota, an undefined amount of time, to go be with his family. He is not kicked, not benched, and fully intends on coming back to the main roster. It's a little breaky poo. But the person who's taking his place is Sumail, which is interesting for so many reasons. So many reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think about the liquid lineup, right? And you look at this team, and part of the reason why they're able to do what they do is the camaraderie that they have, and the fact that they've basically been together for 2+ years at this point as the same squad of 5, right?
Yeah.
They're making this stuff together. Suddenly, you lose that. You take any piece out of that 5-man puzzle, there's a little something lost. And even bringing in Sumail, Sumail's going to come with his own baggage and his own stuff, right? It'll be interesting to see how that works out together. Also, Liquid, very fluid in roles all the time. Mm-hmm. Sumail, most famous for playing a mid, kind of shit on for playing an offlane. Boxy's an offlaner. What happens? Does Koikfa play offlane? Does Sumail play mid? Do they switch sometimes? Does Sumail only play offlane?
You guys play in. Wait, what?
I think it's tomorrow,
Oh,
the 27th.
today's the lower division day.
Yeah,
So you play tomorrow. So the podcast will not be out by then?
it will be. It'll be out before the game.
Oh, it'll be out before the game. Okay. Okay, speculation. Who knows? Is Koifa gonna play mid? Is Sumail gonna play mid? Is Mickey gonna play mid? And Sumail plays carry and Koifa plays offlane. Who the fuck knows? It's it is definitely one of those things that we just kind of have to wait and see. Because as you said, Liquid is incredibly versatile in their roles, and if any team is able to bend to a player's preference or bend to whatever they think is most ideal, Liquid is going to be up there on that list for sure. So,
And Sumail is someone who, at one point in time, might have had the highest stock in Dota.
yes,
I would probably be hard pressed to currently put him in a top 10 list of Dota player stock.
yeah,
His name is still there. His name will always be there, right? People
yeah.
always identify Sumail as that kid who won TI on EG and a hero, one of, if not the best mids in the world at present time, and through like a multitude of times. People will always think Storm Spirit. People will always like have these.
Mhm.
People always think Neck Pillow. People always think about Sumail in like these ways, right?
Yeah.
But I think that general sentiment has softened on him because, he ducks out of EG. The NA team he's playing on like is whatever. Just Air is a flop. Him playing off lane isn't the best thing in the world, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now suddenly, he's not really Sumail anymore. He's just like a highly notable Dota player who people know is good.
yeah.
So what Sumail are we gonna get on this roster?
Well, I guess it depends on what position Sumail. I think like legitimately both his performance and his stock, quote unquote. Like the only person I can think of that has had like higher Dota stock would be Anna, and it required that guy to win 2 TIs and not play any other Dota, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Thompson after TI8, people were like, okay, but like fluke that whole thing, but also it's like when like if OG somehow won TI without Anna, then people would be like, oh fucking Thompson, Otail, Sumail, or Seb, like those guys are the fucking greatest. But because they didn't look very good without Anna or weren't like top tier, and then Anna comes back and they win another TI, it's like, oh okay, well then it's Anna, right? It's literally, and that's probably not the case. Like I legitimately think Anna is like a once in a lifetime kind of player, but we don't know that for sure because Anna has played Dota before. It's not like he single-handedly carried teams to TI. He didn't even go to TI on his teams before. And we also don't know what OG looks like at TI without Anna. So but just the storyline puts all of it onto Anna, right? It's like OG didn't look good because Anna's gone. OG looks good and wins TI again when Anna's here. Then it must be Anna, and everything comes down to Anna, and that's literally the only person I could think of who has had higher Dota stock than Sumail at his peak.
There's so many questions that I'm looking forward to kind of getting answered. Just from positions to performance to like Boxy's break being undefined and tied to family. Like there is a conceivable world where Sumail is on Liquid through TI.
Yeah, and the question I think a really interesting question is Boxy's style as an offlaner is unique.
Super unique.
So,
and people don't talk. Boxy does not get the credit he deserves.
Absolutely. Boxy is a highly sought after player because he is a unique player. It's very rare from my perspective. I think it's very rare to find people who have unique takes on Dota because everybody takes other people's ideas and digests them and like They just take all these other ideas, but the truly innovative idea makers, the people who are pushing the frontier, those are few and far between. Most of the
Trendsetter.
time, we're just regurgitating like stuff that has already been discovered, you know. So, but it also means when you're a unique player, you're also more like set. You're not nearly as malleable, right? You are gonna play your way. So the question is, does Liquid look worse because some of their identity is gone? Boxy in many ways made Liquid, or are they going to look better because they don't have like as rigid standards, let's say? Like they have something that is more flexible, or they have a new way to be able to play because Boxy's gone. My bet is more the former than the latter. I think Boxy's identity is like key to Liquid and key to their victories, and I'm not sure if they're going to look as good without him, but it could be either.
I think that their schedule is incredibly favorable to this transition because the next three opponents they have are Brame, Hellbear, and Tundra.
Mm.
And if you want to play three teams with a new lineup, it's probably those three teams.
Yeah.
It'll probably be the most forgiving games they're going to get in one way or another. I'm interested. You talk about a lot about Boxy's identity and like what it does for Liquid in drafting. Is if this, if I have a criticism for Liquid, especially after watching the major, I think that sometimes there is a propensity to be cute when you don't have to be.
Mm.
I think that sometimes there's like some envelope pushing or some cheekiness in drafting or like some. It's almost like the head games of flex picks get too deep because you
Oh
go.
yeah, great example is picking Enigma into Rubik because they believe that they can out execute the Rubik. Like, guys, you could just keep the game simple for yourself, but they're like, nah, it's fine. Like, Taiga will still get his black hole off, and then Boxy or Koifa or somebody is gonna shit on the Rubik, and he won't be able to steal black hole and cancel it. It's like, well, fuck me. That's
Or you don't have to do that. You could just not.
yikes. You could just not draft Enigma.
Or it's like, oh, we're gonna draft Enigma, and we actually think that it's gonna go to Taiga because Taiga always plays Enigma. But Psyche, actually, we also picked Earth Spirit. But does Insania really play Earth Spirit? Not really. Now we have two Taiga heroes. Oh, what? Koik was playing Earth Spirit? Like, these are things that are not uncommon to happen. Where the level of role swapping and hero swapping and flexibility can go too far.
Mhm.
And then you're just doing things that are in theory disadvantageous because yes, you might have confused your opponent in the draft, but now you're playing heroes you might not want to be playing. Now you're playing Enigma into Rubik.
Yeah.
And they might have to do less of that. I forgot the point I was trying to make. They might be forced to do less of that if you don't have Boxy and you instead have Sumail who's playing something that is slightly more rigid. That doesn't say Sumail's hero pool is rigid or what they want him to do is necessarily rigid. I can see a world where he can swap roles a little bit, but I don't think that you're going to have the same level of flexibility, so you're not going to be able to get as cute, which could be a good thing.
If I recall, Sumail as an offlaner wasn't that greedy. Felt like he wanted to make moves around the map where Boxy is much more of a farming offlaner. And then if you compare Sumail and Koifa, Koifa's like yield faithful, you know? He fucking goes off at the exact time and the exact amount every single time. He is a fucking rock for Liquid in that regard. But like I feel very rarely does he like fully fucking shit on his opponent, which is what
Seldom.
Sumail was known for
Seldom.
doing. Sumail was like literally known for being like the mid laner to fucking embarrass other mid laners. So it's again it changes that dynamic no matter where he is.
If nothing else, it's going to be interesting to see what it does to the DPC standings over there and how people are gonna play around it. if they're
Oh
gonna.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see Valve's ruling because that stand-in, unless Moxie's going to come back real soon, that stand-in happened before Liquid played 4 games. So I believe technically by the ruling you are allowed to forfeit 1 game. So I believe if you forfeit 2 games, you're disqualified. So I think technically, um, you are you are good to go. You played 2 games already. You play another 4, then you forfeit the last one, and that is technically how you could get by without Boxy playing at all. But it would require you to forfeit an entire match, and that very likely means no major for Liquid. Or Boxy is going to have to come back for a game, or Valve is going to give an exemption.
I'll edit this out if I have to, after I confirm stuff after the show about what is and isn't explicitly public. But there has been an exception given from Valve because of the circumstances.
Oh, okay. I figured they would, but that's good to know. Valve has always been kind of reasonable about stuff like this. They've given so far, as far as I know, I don't think there's a single team who hasn't gotten a COVID exception for the penalty at the major.
Yeah, if you show the receipts and you're like, hey, this is what's going on, this is why it's going on. Is there any flexibility here? I think that Valve is much more a fan of the logic or the real world scenario and less of the bureaucracy of like, well, it's written in the rules, which I'm a fan of. I understand that that's a slippery slope because you can, in theory, have people taking advantage of situations if you're not steadfast to your rule book. But
true, people like try and fake COVID tests and stuff like that.
Who would ever do that? No one, right? 0 people. Oops. But yeah, I am incredibly. I'm even more interested in the EU DPC now. Even more so because of how tight the group is at this point. Even more so because Alliance, man, they're just proving everyone wrong. Who would have? Who would?
Yeah, Smashers was the team I chose to over Brain to make it through, and they're 0-2. I chose OG over Alliance, apparently, as being the team that was going to shake up the top of the group. But it looks like Alliance is going to be doing that, and then Nigma and both Tantra are not looking so hot right now. Which, yeah,
Nigma doesn't look
I just know
bad.
that dynamic was going to be shaken up this season. Maybe Secret will still end up on top. Maybe the lower division teams will still end up on bottom. But I think there's a higher chance this season that we are going to break the fucking dynamic that there was last season of Secret being on top. The bottom 2 teams are expected to go out, and so on and so forth.
I mean, now you're just gonna make sad. I wonder what Karaoke in Division 2 looks like.
I don't think that. I don't. No.
So many things that have to go wrong.
That's not happening. That's not happening. I'm gonna. No, that can't happen. that would be simultaneously great for Division 2 and terrible for Dota.
Imagine
you just watch Nigma shit on a fucking bunch of lower division teams.
I like the idea of Nigma versus the 12th best team in Europe. Feels like some real open bracket shit.
Speaking of, there is a. We were looking at this. We're talking Europe, but I host the CIS side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And T. Governor put it very eloquently. There is a team called No Techies. On that team is Solo, legendary CIS captain, right? Formerly of VP, one of the most dominant rosters in Dota 2 of all time, only overshadowed by OG and Secret when it comes to like long-term dominance of a scene. He said, No Techies is speed running upper division to elimination. because they started in the upper division last team, went bottom 2. Now they're 0-2 in the lower division as well. That is actually insane. The idea that a team that was in the upper division is actually bad enough to straight up not make it, or to not stay in the lower division either. They legitimately may just go upper division, lower division, out of the DPC. Oh man.
They're the only people on that bubble. That's oh no. Solo.
There is potentially other teams out there. 496 was in upper division. They're 0-2 in Southeast Asia right now. But it's funnier just because Solo is like a legendary name and he's now not legendary at all. He's being exposed.
Yeah. That's my thinking voice when I actually don't have anything. That's my cue to go. What a great week, everybody. See you on the next one.
Hey, have you seen my hosting, by the way?
I have not watched any of the CIS stuff. I can do some homework, just for you. I've listened to I've coincidentally listened to like almost all of your EU casting. But I haven't turned any
game with Fogged. Felt good.
I don't understand how Boxy was playing Mars so well against PL.
I'm gonna say he got a little help from ILTW. Just he got a little help from him.
Yes. You know? I don't think you can unless the PL is performing a little poorly. Let's also make sure to say that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you were going crazy that cast. There was like a 3-minute fight by Barracks in that game.
Yeah, it felt good because being an older caster, nobody like wants to give you praise. It's played out, you know. It's like you get your fucking Reddit threads and stuff when you're on the come up. You know, people want to show you appreciation.
We get it. You're good at your job, right? Like,
yeah, it's nice to remind people to like, hey, you know, these other people are coming up and they're good, but like, don't forget, I'm here, I'm good, I'm you know, you fucking put OD Pixel 1A, but I'm 1B. Don't forget.
I'm not free anytime soon. I'll go preach. I'll go preach the gospel.
And I think I'm doing a pretty good job hosting. But I was curious on your feedback from that. I'm gonna ask Sheever as well what she thinks of my hosting so far.
I'll have to watch some this week. Let me know when you're hosting, and I will watch.
Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays.
Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Okay, that means that I got a full week. I got a full week to go watch later this week.
Yeah.
I won't forget. But until Thursday, Friday, or Sunday, there's a podcast to edit. There's some video games to play. You got some lower division to go care about today.
No, I'm not working today. Today's my day off. I'm gonna go stream. I'm gonna go play techies. I don't care. I reached 8K. Like, fuck it. I really want to just grind some techies for position because I'm convinced this hero is good. And I want to be able to show that it is good.
Do you get a TP if you kill yourself?
No. Big nerf. Hurt badly.
Is it really that much of a thing to abuse to justify making an exception for that? Like, what are the use cases to where that gets abused?
Dude, Aaron and I had the funniest conversation on panel. So I was like, all right, you're a techies guy, I'm a techies guy. Let's talk about some techies. What do you think about the techies changes? And he was like, what the fuck was with that, like, suicide? Like, he's funny because he's absolutely right. In the patch notes, they're like, techies can no longer suicide and get TP scrolls. This affects all suicide abilities. And Aaron's like, what other suicide ability was this? it's like it says all, but it's like very clearly pointing at techies. It's very clearly a fuck you to techies specifically. Nobody else can suicide anymore. They took it away. The Baden, Pudge, all those years, like
Yeah, who else even
you can't
could?
do it.
It was like a Baden and Pudge.
There's like weird scenarios where you can technically like suicide.
Couldn't Pugna like give enough of his life away to die at one point in time?
Yeah, that was
You
a
could
thing.
like heal someone to die.
You can also like deny yourself. I don't know if that counts in the situation. You know, when you have a dot on you and like Beastmaster kills himself with his own boar or something like that. But yeah, I don't know if that affects it. But like, yeah, it was very clearly like a fuck you to techies. This affects all suicide heroes. Who? It's only techies.